Hi, I'm Michael End from MXR Productions. We are a film production company based in Vienna, and we specialize in commercial production. And over the years, we've been working a lot with Samsung for many projects. So to get to the point, last Christmas we were approached by Samsung, and they wanted us to produce 4 VR videos for them to promote their new Gear VR product line. The main idea behind this was that they wanted to subject people to help people overcome their fear by subjecting them to situations where they would be confronted with those fears. The fears specifically were the fear of heights and the fear of public speaking. So when we got that request, first of all, we had 0 experience with VR production whatsoever. And it was around Christmas that we got it, and the deadline was the end of January. So the first thing we did was, panic, but the first thing we did was extensive research and development. We tested some rigs we had access to, some GoPro rigs, and the problem with all that was that Samsung and we are used to have a professional production workflows, meaning if the customer wants to see live what we are producing. So one requirement was exactly that we have a live stream of the video being produced to the customer, to us. And also we had no post-production experience in VR, meaning we had to learn some stitching workflows, something to base our work on. And yes, so after some testing, we decided to go with the Nokia Ozo. It fulfilled all our requirements. The software which is coming with the Nokia Ozo allows for automatic stitching, which we were a little afraid of because you have much less possibility to help with the process. Also, the software suite, the Ozo remote software, allows for on-set control and preview for the customer. So also it has the option for stereoscopic filming if one would need it. So after some testing, we decided it would be nice. We rented it from Teltec in Germany with a whole suite, everything you needed. And for the post-production workflow, we decided to use After Effects with a Metal Skybox Pro studio because we knew After Effects, and that was a big help about that. So I'm going to talk about those 4 movies from pre-production to post-production. Every challenge we had, every thing we had to overcome. So yeah, we had with Ozo and Metal Skybox Studio, we had the possibility to maintain our known workflow, and yeah, we have everything in meaning of options and possibilities. So the first film I'm going to talk about is The Fear of Public Speaking, which you can see also here. It's part of the set, the story was about a job interview, which many people seem to have problems with. So it was a pretty, let's say, boring set. There wasn't much going on in things of action. So we decided to steer the viewer by helping him, the assistant who enters through that door. You start to follow her because it's the only thing that moves in your perspective at the moment. And you follow her until we are at the main point of the action, which is the job interview itself. The victim, I call him the victim, has a problem with speaking, so he's silent all the time while all the interviewees are watching him closely and thoroughly. So how did we do it? We had the classic workflow of going over SDI to our video village, which with the Ozo creator, which I was operating, we could put a signal through to the customer and also to a mobile workstation which the director could carry with him at all times. So they had, the customer and the director had could operate through me. They could say, could you focus over there? Could you check this out? Good point about OSO Creator, OSO Remote in this case is you can switch between the whole preview stitch and a certain point of view in your composition. So they could always see, okay, we're going to here, okay, now we can see this person, and yeah, they were really happy with that. So, exactly, that's it for the first movie. I can show you the raw video of this, because we can see all the problems for the post-production. Here, so. And we can see it's pretty much the same. This is our AG, Pete. Only thing is we had a moving head on the bottom because the customer wanted to decide on set if they maybe wanted a sitting down or standing up motion before or after the interview. But this was the only thing that was a little bit of a problem to retouch. But this was by far the easiest film to in post-production. For it was a locked camera, we had nearly no action going on, little crossing of stitching lines. The only one is the assistant who crossed some of them, but it was really not that much of a problem. The automatic stitching in OSO Creator also proved a valuable asset. It's not perfect, of course, but it gives us a strong starting point. You see, this is the preview stitch in low quality, and it's already, you can see some stitching lines, but it's already very nice. Good. The second film was a wedding scenario, also in the line of fear of public speaking. I'll show you the finished video. So, which is also, again, starting at a point we can see for the viewer, following the children going over here. And in this video we also had, it was very high maintenance. You can see there's very much going on. We had many actors on set. It's at all, you can't really decide where to look. So we decided to use audio as a directional tool to steer the viewer. We had, for example, when this guy taps on his glass, you can hear it from the direction with spatial audio, so you automatically look over here, look over there. Also to maintain the fear, to build the fear, we had everything, like the room fell silent as soon as the people stared at you to make the speech. It's all very happy and all in good fun until it looks at you, wants you to talk to everybody. The room falls silent, cameras are looking at you. It's very much, very many things going on. The violinist stops back here, everybody is looking at you. Yeah, it produced a little bit of fear. Yeah, the production itself was very straightforward again, because again, locked camera is very helpful. We had, we placed the camera in the middle of the room, where you would sit, and again, you can see our setup. It's not that much around the camera to retouch, to have to put away. So this is another one. This is our assistant director again, Pete. He's important because he played also an important role in the film, because our video village, which you can see here, was one floor below our set. So it would have been a big trouble to always run back down and up and so on. So we just, as you can see in the raw file again, we just put him into the set. As you can see here, he's standing here. So he was over radio, he was accessible, and he always put through the orders of the director to the actors. That was very helpful. Also, at all, we noticed that what's very important is a very close relationship, a very close workflow between director and post-production, because we could tell the director, here you can see the cables run all along one line, which is the backside stitching line of the Nokia Ozo. Which is easy to retouch, and we told him, is it possible that no one crosses that line? He said, no problem, no one will cross it, no one will go over here, and that helped a lot in retouch later on. So, yeah, also, the rest of it was, as you can see, just a lot of telling people what to do until it worked. The third film we did was to access the fear of heights. Especially this time it was a bridge. You can see soon. Sorry for the delay. Here, no. Here, yes. No. Close one. So the story here is you're with a group of friends on a very high bridge. It's very steep. You can see that you don't want to move. Your friends are looking at the view, and then they ask you to continue on the other side of the bridge. You are afraid. You don't make it. You stand still. And in this case, we didn't have that much to steer the viewer, so we gave the freedom and put inserts everywhere, which could be viewed by the viewer, and he didn't really have to follow a story from a certain point, because you can see they just leave and you're alone. You're left alone with your fears. You're left alone with the height, and yeah, that one worked really well. The shoot itself was a little more tricky because, as you can see, the bridge was really very high and was very, very long over the gap. So in this little point, you can see we mounted the camera, and there was really no good possibility to lay a cable from here to the video village, because it's just a very long way. It would have been visible over the floor, which would have been especially bad in this case because we had the floor itself, it was see-through, which proved also very difficult in post-production, in retouching the floor, because of the parallax. You can see the front of the floor of your surroundings moves in another speed than the ground right down under you. Also, if we would have dropped something, it would have been a big problem, because it would have cost us 2 hours to get it, if it would still work. Yeah. So you can see our workflow was we set up the camera, tested everything, made some test views with the cable. The video village was behind a corner, a long way from the bridge. We had, I think, 200 meters of cable to view what was going on. So we made the tests, the rehearsals, after which we took the cable away, and our director just shouted action very loudly over a great distance. As you can see, the setup was that we had a dead cat under the camera. At this set, I wasn't there, sadly, so I couldn't stop it from being there, because it was a greater problem in post-production than we had hoped. As you can see in the raw footage, this one is again a very raw stitching only. The problems with the stitching are here in the closer lines. Everything that happens very close to the camera was a problem in post-production. We had to be very resourceful to just give that away. And here you can see the fat dead cat that wasn't seen by anybody else, seemingly. And all of this had to go. And yeah, this is. I don't think we would do that again, because the parallax really was a little bit of a problem. Yeah, but it worked out fine, really fine in the end. So the wind moving the bridge here wasn't making it easier either. Also, the actors moving too close to the camera wasn't perfect. Good. That brings me to the last film, the chairlift, which also gives away the fear of heights. Yes, that's the one. So the story here is that you're going on a chairlift. You're afraid of heights, and the situation itself is very troubling for you. But after a time, jump in front of this, your fears become a little harder to grasp, because the lift stops and you are trapped around here. This one was even trickier on set, because you have no connection whatsoever to the team. We tried several things. The first thing was, after we drove up there with a snowplow, we mounted the camera on one of the lifts, and our director, our DOP, and one PA drove in the cabin after it. So they sat behind it, I think around 50 meters or something like that, and over Wi-Fi they could see the preview. But signal was so weak that we only had around 2 frames per second, which isn't really good for a preview. Also, ironically, on this first take, the lift stopped, and they had to sit there 30 minutes in the air. Yeah, fun stuff. And when they came back, it had negative 16 degrees, so that wasn't helping either. And when they came back, we decided to do it another way. We just mounted the camera and let it go started it and let it go a full turn, which lasted for around 10 to 12 minutes. So we had 10 to 12 minutes of footage every time we sent it up. It's also a little inducing of our own fear that it won't come back or something will happen. Yeah, and the raw footage you can see here. No, wrong one. Here we go. You can see, this is another take, but we can see that the camera is mounted a little to the left of the cabin. That proved a little challenging. Again, this is only the previous stitch. We had to retouch everything around here. But this was, in terms of stitching, it was one of the easiest ones because everything is very far away. And except of this, we had a great success with it. The customer was very happy, but the greatest challenge was the time frame, because we had not just those 4 videos to do, but we promised them to do 2 more for a promotion where in a great mall in Austria, people could sit down on the actual copy of the chairlift we took there. They really took one of the cabins from there and put it up in the mall. They could sit down, put on the Gear VR, and see the actual fear experience stereoscopically. So we took another shot of the chairlift and the bridge, had to retouch those as well and stitch those as well, which in stereoscopic is double the work because you have to do it twice. So in the end we had 8 videos to stitch, 8 videos to retouch within short of a month, which worked. It was challenging, but it worked. So the tracking of the inserts was also a little tricky. When we started production, we had the luck that during our post-production, version 2 of Metal Skybox Studio was released, which added a few more features which were very practical to use. But tracking still it proved a little tricky because of the way we tracked. We didn't track it on the actual picture, but wanted it 3-dimensionally, but 2-dimensionally, like in HUD. After we were finished, I think 1 week after I was finishing, Mocha VR was released, which was sadly a little late because it would have helped us very much. And the main thing we took away from the experience was that we saw that all of VR, all of 360-degree video production is in a constant development, in a constant advancement. We had great tools at our disposal, but they all lacked a little bit. Everything could be optimized a little here or there. And so we were happy. We know it wasn't perfect what we produced. We were very happy with the result in the time frame. And yeah, that's about it. I think it worked very fine. Any questions?
Okay, first question there.
Yeah, I have many questions. How was do in minus 60?
16, negative 16 degrees Celsius it was. So it was very cold up on the mountain.